Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and today I am going to be winging it. I'm doing a variation of a card I did for my husband for Valentine's Day, but because it's personal to him I didn't want to share the photograph, and I will be making it differently this time, but it's essentially the same. So the stamp set that I'm using is Timeless Textures, which is just a delightful collage stamp set, and I'll bring it up a bit closer for you. So it's just divine, and very me because it's very vintage feel, and I'm using it in conjunction with this stamp set, which is the Sweet Sayings, and I'm going to be using the I think it's Every Time I Think of You. Not every time. My heart just smiles. My heart smiles just thinking of you. I just think that's so lovely. So those are the two stamp sets we're using. We're also using the Lots of Labels Framelits dies. And you will need some of the It's My Party enamel dots. And I've already pre-cut to size, so your card base is a 6-inch card base, so I've pre-scored and folded and cut and everything. So this for you to make would be 12 inches by 6 inches and scored the long side at 6 inches. In centimetres that would be 30 centimetres by 15 centimetres, and then the long side scored at 15 centimetres. Then fold, making sure that ridge is inside, and just burnish it with your bone folder. On top of that you need a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and this measures, refresh my memory, 12.8 by 12.8 centimetres. And on top of that is a piece of Lost Lagoon cardstock, and that measures, and that's got to be 12.4 by 12.4. Now we can adhere those two layers together straight away, so I'll just use some fast fuse here. That onto there, and then you can mat that straight onto your card base, because we're not wrapping any lace or anything like that round. Now obviously make sure you know which way you want your opening to be. I do like my square cards to be a mountain fold, so that their fold is this way, not this way, but it's a personal choice thing, so I will leave that to you to decide. And just centre that up just by eyeballing it, and that goes down. Put all of that safely to one side, because we are going to be making a very inky mess here. And this last layer is 12 centimetres by 12 centimetres, and this is what we're going to be stamping onto. So I am going to begin with Sahara Sand, and I'm using the grid stamp. So I just put that onto my block, and you're just going to make a grid pattern. Quite faint, but that's the way I want it to be. So that's in the middle there. Next you're going to use Crumb Cake. So we're going a slight shade darker in the neutrals. And I'm using the edge one, so it's like a torn aged paper edge. And you're going to work your way all the way around the border. And you can use first and second generation stamping, which just means you don't re-ink each time you stamp, but rather with this one you're stamping twice before you re-ink the stamp. And remember, this is a vintage feel, so you really do not want this to be perfect. You want that aged, rolled corner look to the whole project. And you will need some paper down. I use grid paper. You can buy it from Stampin' Up, and it comes in nice big thick stacks that lasts for ages. But you will need some scrap card paper, cardstock or paper underneath where you're working, because you will see this is just a start and it's already an inky mess on the table. Next you're going to come in with the looks like tea rings or a bangle or a flower that's curled around, and for this one I'm going with, so now we're going to the in colours, so I'm going to go with Delightful Dijon this time, I think. And you're just going to stamp one of these roughly in each corner. Don't place them exactly in the same places. And you're using a stamping off technique, so that means that some of them you're going to be stamping and they won't be completely on the cardstock, so that you'll see it coming off on the paper here, and then again another couple, and yet again I'm only inking up every couple of times I stamp. And that's that one. Put that away. And next I'm going with Lost Lagoon. So this is now tying in with the colour of the cardstock, and I'm going to use this beautiful fleur-de-lis type flourish. Ink it up, and you want one of these roughly in each corner, but you're also going to stamp a little edge. So it's overlapping. And again, don't re-ink every time. If you feel there's any gaps that need a little bit of infill, do. Because you want like a halo effect in the centre here. And I think that looks a little bit like the old flock paper, wallpaper we used to see. I don't even know if you have wallpaper in the States. That's really ignorant of me. But if you're watching from another country, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about when I talk about wallpaper. There you are. Right, and then the last bit is going to be a little bit of Blackberry Bliss. Really intense, this one. So you can ink up, and I'm just using these like little splodges, like ink splodges. And you just want to dot these around, and you will find you can get up to 5 or 6 stamps before you need to re-ink the stamp. It really is a very intense colour. There you go. So it's a piece of Whisper White cardstock. Could have used it very vanilla, but I didn't. And the reason I didn't use very vanilla, I just wanted to show you how a piece of Whisper White cardstock can be transformed into something you would be fooled into thinking is very cream based, and it's not. And by creating that halo in the middle, that's kind of what you've done. Right, so on top of that there is this is one of the new, now remember some of the Celebration products were time limited only, so like the plain one, the Sky's the Limit one, and a couple of the others were time limited, so you only had until the 15th of February to purchase them. Well, this is one of the new ones, so a few, I think it's only about 3 new products have come out for Celebration, and this is one of them. It's a 3-pack of glimmer ribbons. Oh, you've got this just dazzling diamond type one, there's a gold and a silver. Oh gosh, it's just to die for. And I'm just going to, I've ripped it in the middle, and I'm just going to pop it in a couple of places just so that as you're looking at it there is a slight shimmer going on. This can now go down on top of your card base. Again, I'm using Fast Fuse, but use whichever adhesive you prefer. There you go. So that's on your card base. Now for the sentiment itself, and as I say, I'm using the sentiment from the Sweet Sayings, and I'm going to use basic black. And I've used this stamp set a few times for the projects coming up this week. I think it's got some really, really pretty sentiments in there. Now, let's do it the way I normally do. This is the way I prefer to ink my stamps. Every time I do it the other way around, I never ink it up fully. Right, try again. There you go, see? Better. And you want the lots of labels, framelits dies, and you just want the best fitting die and the next one down from it. Which would be that one and that one. And then you just want a scrap of cardstock, and you can choose whichever colour you choose. I've got to decide between these two, and I think I am going to go with the Lost Lagoon for this one. My husband's one I did the Blackberry Bliss, but I think I'm going to go this one. Okay, so next job then is to get your big shot. You ideally want a magnetic platform. Pop your cardstock down, and actually I'm going to do it the other way around just to make sure that that black ink is well dry. So I want the Lost Lagoon to start off with, and the larger die, and this is the blade here. I don't know if you can see the ridge. It's not a blade, look, it doesn't cut, but it cuts by pressure So that small blade put between the two acrylic plates is what creates it to cut. Just like an old mangle would remove the excess water from your laundry. So that's the larger label. And then you want your stamped label and the smaller die, and just repeat that process through your big shot. Remove that and then the big shot can go away. And then it's just a matter of layering these up. Put your two dies away before they get lost, especially after yesterday's cacophony of errors. Me putting the wrong dies in the wrong die pack and getting myself in a total pickle. Okay, so the best way for layering these up is with Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use all these lovely scrummy end pieces. It's a great way of using up resources for things that would normally get thrown away. I don't like waste, so that's that. Take the backing, don't take the backing off yet, pop dimensionals on the back of this one as well. Take the backing off of here, this is the smaller die cut, and mount that on top of the larger die cut, just so. And bring in your enamel dots. And although these are not the same colour, that it works, and that's just because of the way Stampin' Up! Provides a coordinated range. So I think I'm going to go with one of those at the bottom there. And then to give a bit of dimension, you can pop a couple onto the card base. Take the backing paper off of your strips of Stampin' Dimensions, and avoid putting this in the centre. If you put it in the centre, you undo all the good work you've done of trying to create that whole halo, and it's about leaving white space. Even if the white space isn't particularly large, leave a bit of white space. It doesn't have to be white, it could be very vanilla, it could be blue, it could be any colour, but just an area on your card that is quiet, doesn't have much going on, and that's what this does here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you very much for watching. You will find all of my social media account information in the show more section under today's video. You can also leave comments there as well, and the full tutorial including all the measurements, so don't worry about having to try and scribble everything down. All the measurements will be on my blog, as will icons that you can click on to purchase the products I've used today via my online store. If you have any questions, please ask, and otherwise I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.